Hello and welcome to the first episode of Systemic Dialogues Across Borders. I'm Dr. Katherine Athanasiou, systemic counselor and therapist, and I'm so glad you're here today. If you are an expatriate living in a multicultural environment like Dubai, or moving between countries, cultures, or even identities, this video is for you. Today, we're exploring something deeply human, yet often overlooked. How our cultural narratives shape the way we experience life and counseling. What stories did you grow up with? What does healing mean in your culture? What does silence mean? Or strength?
Dr. Katherine, why is cultural intelligence so important in counseling today?
Because counseling doesn't happen in a vacuum. Each person brings with them an entire world, language, gestures, unspoken rules, beliefs about love, family, failure, shame, even how to ask for help. When we ignore those cultural layers, we risk misinterpreting pain, misnaming strengths, or pushing solutions that simply don't fit. Now, systemic counseling recognizes this. We don't just look at the individual, we look at the entire system that shapes them, the family, the society, the culture, even the subculture that they belong. It's not about fixing a person, it's about understanding their context. Where do they come from?
Can you give us a real example of how culture shows up in counseling?
Absolutely. Let me share a moment from my own experience here in Dubai. Some time ago, I was working here as a success counselor in a large hospitality company. One day, one of the managers asked to see me, and he was clearly distressed, anxious, unable even to focus on his work. And he said, "Dr. Kate, my wife back in my country, she showed me deep disrespect yesterday." I paused and said gently, "Okay, I understand that sounds painful and upsetting. Can you tell me more? What exactly did she do?" With urgency, he showed me a photo she had posted on Instagram. To my eyes, I saw a young woman, perhaps in her early 20s, wearing a nice cream shirt with the two top buttons open. She looked very sweet, very decent, also maybe even elegant. But he was outraged. He said, "This is not how a wife should behave. This is shameful. She posted this photo while I'm away, working hard for our family." Now, did I see what he saw? Not really. But that didn't matter. As a counselor, I needed to enter his world, not impose mine. So I asked, "I see. And what exactly about this photo upsets you?" And that allowed him to speak more for his cultural lens, about modesty, about honor, marital roles, and distance. And it allowed us to work from that place of meaning. Because here's the truth. If I had responded with, "Well, that's not inappropriate, that's pretty normal for a girl at her age," I would have shut down the bridge between us. As therapists and counselors working internationally, we must learn to see through our clients' eyes, to ask, where do they come from? What do they believe is right or wrong? What feels sacred to them? That's how we build cultural intelligence in counseling, not by agreeing or disagreeing, but by understanding deeply.
How can someone develop cultural intelligence in their own life?
Great question. Here are 3 ways. First, ask before assuming, not just where are you from, but what has shaped you. Be curious about people's invisible beliefs. Second, hold 2 truths at once. You can respect your family and choose a different path. You can love your culture and still question parts of it. Third, honor your emotional language. Every culture teaches us how to express or suppress emotion. Find that words that are yours. And if they don't exist, even create them. So here's a reflection for today. What story were you given about who you should be? And what story do you want to write next? Pause. Journal. Talk to someone. Systemic counseling is not about erasing cultures. It's about working with it as your source of meaning, strength, and sometimes transformation. So thank you so much for being here today. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Send me a message here on Instagram or LinkedIn. And if you're ready to explore your own story in a safe space, reach out for a consultation. Remember to subscribe so you won't miss the next episode. Until then, be gentle with your story. You are not alone.